Carbohydrates. The word carbohydrate, you get it from combining carbon and hydrogen. Carbohydrates. Example of carbohydrate, you can find it in bread, rice, pasta, pretty much anything related to wheat. Here's the structure of carbohydrate, and it's a ring. It's a 6-carbon ring. Let's learn about the of carbohydrates. The monomer for carbohydrate is called a monosaccharide. The dimer is called a disaccharide. So you can guess what a polymer of carbohydrate is called. If you guessed it, it's polysaccharide. One example of a monosaccharide is called glucose. So the word saccharide and mono and di and poly, those are just scientific names. Glucose is an example. It's an everyday name. The word glucose means sugar. That's why example carbohydrate was found in bread, rice, and pasta and such, because those things have tiny bits of sugar in them. The word saccharide also means sugar. So you see how all the relationship bonds together now? Mono is Latin for one. So a monosaccharide is a single sugar. Dimer, as we learned, it's Latin for two. So can you guess what disaccharide is? And poly means many. So take a guess what disaccharide and polysaccharide is. Okay, now we learned that a dimer, it means two, so a dimer is made up of two monomers put together. Same thing with the disaccharide, it's equal to two monosaccharide put together. Now, that looks pretty scary, huh? If for someone who doesn't know about carbohydrate and Latin root word, but now look what happens. You learn the Latin root word, and when you look at that really long sentence, it's nothing to you now. It's so easy. It just means a two sugar is one sugar and one sugar put together. See what happened when you learn Latin root word? Okay, an example is a glucose plus a glucose, which are both monosaccharide. When you put them together, you get a dimer called maltose. There's 3 monosaccharides. One of it is called glucose. It's the 6-carbon ring that we saw earlier, and the formula is C6H12O6. Another one is called fructose, and that has the structure of a 5-carbon ring. And the formula is the same. And then the last one is galactose. Now we don't have to worry much about galactose. We'll focus more on the other two. Notice how glucose and fructose have the same formula, but different structure. That is called isomers, which mean they have the same formula, but different structures. See, I told you. Okay, now the word iso is Latin for same. Remember that because you'll see that plenty a lot. Like in math, isosceles triangle, or I can't think of another one. But yeah, iso means the same. So once we learn about the 3 monosaccharide, now we're going to learn about the 3 disaccharide. And they are, when you put 2 glucose together, remember what the first one I told you about? The dimer, it was called maltose. And then when you put a glucose and a fructose together, you get sucrose. And when you put a glucose and a galactose together, you get a lactose. Sucrose is everyday table sugar, the one that you eat. And then lactose is the sugar in milk. Now some people are lactose intolerant. They couldn't take that. But we'll get more into that in the future. So for now, you learn about 3 monosaccharide and 3 disaccharide. We will be learning about polysaccharides. Last words. Chemist last words. And now, shake it a bit. Boom. So, can you think of any last words?